Hey there's the Heir of Carthage bringing you an Empire Total War online commentary battle. I actually filmed this a moment ago and then made the brilliant realization that I didn't have the narration turned on while I was in game. So I'm going to narrate it now from the Windows Movie Maker screen. I'm playing as the Cherokee Nations, and that's my army you see marching into position there. I've got 5 units of musketmen. And then in the back, on either flank, I have 3 units of elite Warrior Society melee troops, but they also have a ranged tomahawk attack, which is pretty cool. You get to see that later in the video. Then I have 2 units of Creek Horse Riders that you'll see here in a moment. Yeah, so if you notice, the mouse pointer moving around is not going to necessarily be lined up with what I'm talking about. Now these units I'm moving right now, they can actually move while hidden, kind of like the American long rifles. But if you run them, of course, they won't be hidden, and I'm kind of running them into position. I'm playing with one of my clanmates, BW Aileron. I'll show you his army here in a moment. I'm just letting you get a view of these native warriors here. That's the musketmen. As you can see, their attire is pretty skimpy. Yep, there's my cavalry in the back. I have a chief's bodyguard as well with those 2 units of Creek Horse Riders. The Creek Horse Riders are missile cavalry, and of course the chief's bodyguard is a melee unit. They got some pretty cool looking skins on the Native American horses there. And this is also a new map. This is the map is called Grassy Flatlands 2. It's because it's a 2-player map, Grassy Flatlands. They also have Grassy Flatlands for 3 vs 3 and 4 vs 4 as well. They added a lot of cool maps. I don't know if the maps were part of the patch or part of the Warpath. Whichever they were part of, they're very nice to have. Because there weren't very many team maps available. Here's Aileron's army. He's got 5 units of long rifles, 6 units of line infantry, and 2 units of household cavalry. And he's facing off against an American opponent as well. I'm not quite sure what all troops the American has. I never did see them all. And my French opponent was nice enough to bring these shorter ranged light infantry units. He probably should have gone ahead and brought Tirelors though, because I was going to have so many of my musketmen. But I think he was just trying to be a good sport by not bringing the extra long range units, because he knew that I wouldn't have them. But in any case, my musketmen have kind of pummeled his light infantry. And so his line is going to be exposed to my musketmen. Now musketmen have a range 90, and the line infantry has range 70. But the line infantry is going to typically have a lot better morale than my musketmen. Here's the French cavalry. He has 5 units of Lancer cavalry. I'm not going to try and pronounce their name. So they're going to have a devastating charge effect, but they're going to not be very good in a prolonged cavalry fight. Actually, I think I just said 5 units of Lancer. I think he has 1 unit of Cuirassier as well. So here's our American opponent. He's going to bring a flank assault in on Aileron. And Aileron's kind of playing dead right here, so to speak. He's about to put his infantry into square at the last second in an attempt to kill a lot of enemy cavalry. And he nearly gets them, but his opponent realizes that would be a grave mistake. Alright, so back on my side, I've routed some of the French line infantry, and I'm now firing on his main line. And I don't think he realizes that his men are not in range with my men. And so I'm getting a lot of free shots on him here, which I actually kind of badly need, because if he were to move his line up pretty close, he could probably demoralize my men pretty quickly. Or at least I think he can. I haven't played a whole lot of battles on the Warpath yet, so I couldn't tell you. But I was pretty proud. My musketmen did really well, all things considered. Here I'm bringing in my Creek Horse Riders, and they're going to fire some flank shots onto these French line infantry. Now the Creek Horse Riders are kind of like light dragoons. They can fire while moving, but they're not very good in the melee fight. And in fact, I've also used them as bait here to lure the French cavalry to come across and get tangled up with my Warrior Society melee infantry. And the Frenchman is going for it, and I think he was hoping that he could just do a quick knockout blow on these native units because their morale isn't very good. But the Warrior Society actually has pretty good morale. It's just the problem is that these Lancers have a very good charge bonus, as you can see with my men flying through the air there. So he's going to make one of my units right here waver and nearly rout, because the charge was so devastating it took down about 40 of their men. He's also brought in his other Lancer Cavalry and some Cuirassiers. And like I said, some of my units are going to waver, but after the charge is over with, his Lancer Cavalry is going to be getting devastated by my infantry, which is going to be much better in a hand-to-hand fight. If he would have charged his cavalry in and then immediately run away, that would have been pretty bad for me. It would have taken a lot of losses, and then he could have done another charge. But you can just expect to take pretty heavy losses when you're using Lancer Cavalry because they're pretty weak. But if used properly, they can be devastating. Alright, so my musketmen are still firing, and then up here on my enemy's right flank, I'm bringing in a melee assault. I've actually just thrown some tomahawks, and that's what routed that unit of French line infantry. And now my brave Cherokee warriors here are going to pour onto the French flank and get into a much more personal kind of fight. Yeah, those units look pretty cool. I'm liking the native units that they added here. I'm gonna have to play more battles as them. Although I expect a good player. I'm not saying my opponent isn't good, but I imagine a really good player playing as one of the European factions could probably tear up one of these native factions bad. But you know, that's kind of how it was in history as well. The Indians didn't fare too well against the European armies. Alright, so here's Aileron. He's basically just working his opponent down. He's defeated that flank attack, and his American opponent's not in real good shape right now. Aileron's got him outranged and outgunned both, so that's not a good combination. This is a while later. I'm trying to wrap up, or I wrapped up most of what was left of the Frenchmen, and I've moved some of my forces forward to put pressure on the American opponent, even though I'm pretty sure Aileron had things well under control. I'm certain that he's a lot better at this game than me. I'm still a relative newcomer when it comes to Empire, although I have gotten better at it, I'm sure. So this is a while later. I wanted to show you me hurling these tomahawks here. It's pretty cool. You can see some of the American line infantry suffering a gruesome fate there. This is one of the reasons why I like playing a game that involves war, but I really wouldn't want to be involved in this in real life unless it was absolutely necessary, because it wouldn't be quite so enjoyable. And if by quite so enjoyable I mean it would be absolutely terrible. So I can't see the statistics because my screen's too small in here, but I'll let you read those statistics. As you can see, I dealt out a lot of casualties to the enemy, but also suffered a lot. Aileron did an excellent job, and good game to our opponents. It was a fun match, and I enjoyed playing with them. And I hope you all enjoyed this Warpath video, and I'll make some more to show you all of the factions in the future.